Is this what everyone feels when they relate to a book? I don't know if I can rate this book, honestly. I'm only 100 pages in and already I feel like I know these people. Thought I was over the tears, was not, apparently. Tell me why that just makes me more excited. I'm actually refusing to believe that this is about to happen. Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. Before we jump into today's video, I just needed to explain a little bit and give you a little bit of context because the first like 10 minutes of this video really just jump all over the place. So this is me giving some context. Basically, I intended to go book shopping for Releasing 10 on their day of release to go get it and get some other books to read in this video. That was the original plan for this video. However, as you will see, not one bookstore had Releasing 10 in stock near me. So we ended up having to order it. And so book shopping kind of just went to the back of my mind. And we turned this into a little reading vlog. So that is why I am so excited to go book shopping at the beginning of this video, and I just decided to keep it in because I do give a lot of my thoughts on like the series as a whole. And then when I'm really dramatic about the fact that I don't get it when I go book shopping, we're just going to ignore that. There was a lot going on that day. I was just taking my sadness and anger out on the fact that I didn't get it from the bookstore. So that's me explaining it. Hope that all makes a little bit more sense and enjoy the video. I have been counting down the days until this day, and that is because Releasing 10, the next book in the Boys of Tommen series, is releasing today. It's Lizzie's book and I cannot be more excited. This is my Onyx Storm. When everyone was going crazy about Onyx Storm, like I was excited, but this is my Onyx Storm. Cannot wait. It is literally, the bookstores aren't even open yet. It is 8:45 in the morning. And the bookstore's open at 9, and I am going to be driving over to the bookstore, picking up my copy, maybe picking up another book whilst I'm there, because there is another book that's just on my radar. But needless to say, I could not be more excited. Genuinely could not be more excited. If you didn't know, the Boys of Tommen series starts with Binding 13, and so far we have 5 books in the series. Taming 7, the most recent book, came out last year, and I will say that was probably my least favorite one. I still really enjoyed it, still loved it, but that was my least favorite one of the series, just because I'm used to having such big books for our characters. These are all like 600 plus. They're all really, really big books, and I was kind of expecting that, but then Taming 7 was, I think it was like 500 pages, and it was also the only book in that couple's story. So I'm really nervous for this one, but I do think I'm gonna love it. I do know that it's like over 700 pages, so that's a good start. I do not know how Lizzie is going to redeem herself because she really did some damage in the last book. I do not like her as a character at all. So she's gonna have to do some redeeming, which I'm sure she will. In a 700 page book, you'd hope so. I just figured we'd read it together because I'm so excited. I think the difference between the earlier books and these books now though are that the earlier books were indie published, but the newer books are traditionally published. So that just basically means that a lot more can be cut, and a lot more was cut from Taming 7. I think it was cut down a good 400 pages. I have a few bookstores near me. I was gonna order it, but then I was like, no, I wanna buy it from my local bookstores. I wanna support them, and it's just kind of fun going to the store and getting a new release. Let's go to the bookstore soon. So, you know when you plan, you plan a day and just nothing really goes to plan. Today has been one of those days. To explain further on that, I woke up. I was so anticipated for today because I was so excited to go book shopping, get my most anticipated release, maybe get a few other books. You know, I explained this all to you. So yeah, that didn't happen. Actually, it did happen. I did go to 3 separate bookstores. Not one of them had Releasing 10, and not one of them had any of the other books I was looking for. So it just wasn't a successful book shopping day. I came home, I got a little sad. I was like, this is not my day. Then I was like, you know what, Freya, it's fine. And then I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna download it on my Kindle. I'm gonna get 2 copies. I never do that. I don't like doing that, but we downloaded it on our Kindle and I have started it, and we have a physical one coming in the mail within the next like 3 to 4 days. So it is gonna be a little while till I have a physical copy. That's absolutely fine. I am so lucky that I can read it on my Kindle to make myself even happier. I did a little Kindle redecorating. One of my favorite bookish content creators started a small business, and it's all like bookish things, bookmarks, stickers, and like these little book charms that are just the cutest thing in the world. They really truly are. I'm gonna link her business down below because like I absolutely love, this isn't sponsored at all, but she did send me a few stickers and things, but I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm gonna try and see if you can. It is actually the cutest thing in the world. We have just all these little charms, and it basically just hangs off your Kindle like that. And then a bunch of these stickers are also from her. So we did redecorate my Kindle. That was fun. And then as I said, we have started keeping Releasing 10, and I was like, look, I don't don't know if there's a point in me vlogging now because I didn't do the book shopping half of this vlog, so is there a point in me continuing vlogging? And then I was like, do you know what? I do not have the brain power to think about this right now. I am just going to read and enjoy my most anticipated release, and it's gonna go in some sort of vlog. So that is my thought pattern. That is where we are now. I have no idea what this vlog is gonna be, but obviously you'll know. So for an update on releasing 10. So far, as good as I thought. A little bit confused because on the Kindle it says 900 pages, which I'm here for, but on Amazon it said physical version was like 700, as I said earlier. So a little bit confused on that, but you know what? Don't even care. As I said, I'm 100, I read a lot more than I thought. I'm 141 pages in and I'm only 16% into this book. Tell me why that just makes me more excited. Honestly, not a lot has happened. Not a lot has happened. And I said before that it's going to take a hell of a lot for me to like Lizzie again for any kind of redeeming qualities. 100 pages and I was already like, oh, look, okay, I see where you're coming from. I cannot believe this. I don't know how Chloe Walsh does this, but every single time I think, nah, I hate this character. There is nothing you can do to make me like them. I speak too soon. I just speak too soon. Something happens, a switch flicks, and she has me. She has me hooked. It's safe to say I am really, really enjoying this. I've been seeing some people say that Huey is their new favorite character. Who is the boy we're following in this one? Huey is their new favorite character. He's even overtaken Johnny, and I'm like, wow, that is a feat. See, I'm a Joey Lynch kind of girl. I'm gonna see where this goes. Also, his parents are so wholesome. Please, please, please look up trigger warnings before you go into this book, because I feel like straight away this book is very, very dark. We're dealing with a lot of sensitive topics, so I would just highly, highly recommend that you do look up trigger warnings before delving into this. I think it's the safest way to go. What I'm feeling is I might get my Kindle stand out and my little clicker, so then we can just lie in bed and read it and not have to think too much. That is my plan. That is everything. I feel like you're updated now. I feel like we're up to sync. Today's just been a little bit of a mind blur, a little bit of a fever dream. We all have days like that, and today was my day like that. I feel like I read so much yesterday and I'm only 30% in. We're at page 300. See, I'm kind of confused about the word count, but I think my copy is coming tomorrow, so that'll like clear some things up. I think it'll probably depend on the copy of the book and everything. This book is so dark. I feel so bad that I ever didn't like Lizzie. I didn't think there was much she could do. Give her a redemption arc, but suddenly I'm not even 50% into the book and I already understand where she came from. Right now, it's very much like pre-Taming 7. And again, a lot of it is the similar timeline to Saving 6, which is really, really interesting. And I love that we've been getting little glimpses of Joey in this. My heart just goes out to Joey, but Huey is amazing. Huey is the definition of a gentleman. And now my camera battery is about to die. Basically, what I wanted to say is that I am obsessed. I have cried multiple times last night. I will keep you updated because this book, I fear this book is going to be the end of me. It's the next day. I feel like I'm wearing the same outfit. I'm pretty sure I was wearing this hoodie anyway. Yes, I am in the middle of finishing my assignment. But look what just arrived. Look what just arrived. I'm very excited. I think this is it. Like, I don't know what else it could be unless I've got a surprise, but I think it is. Yes. Oh, I have been searching for you. To be fair, this is only 2 days after it came out. I'm so curious to see the page length. Yeah, it's 734 pages. Why is the font so small? I will be reading it on my Kindle. Why is that so small? Surely the others aren't that small. Okay, small, but no, this is way smaller. Oh my God, I cannot read that without my glasses. I am like... Anyway, I'm gonna finish this assignment, but then we will keep reading. Okay, it's later in the night. I have read quite a bit since I've updated you. We just got pretty much 40% through, I would say. Oh my God, okay, I have so many thoughts and it's really interesting because it is now day 3, Thursday today. So what, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, so day 3. So I feel like public opinions are starting to roll in. Some people have finished it already, some people are just halfway through like me, and the opinions are starting to roll in and they are intense because this is an intense book. This is a very intense book and I understand why these opinions are what they are. I am all here for a traumatic book, but this is just really taking it to the next level. This is probably one of, not I would say the darkest, but one of the darkest books I have ever read, to the point where I'm like, do I recommend this series to you guys? Because I feel awful recommending such a thing. It's kind of like A Little Life for me. Never ever recommend that book. It's an incredible read. It was such an impactful read, but it has some of the darkest, heaviest themes I've ever read in a book. Basically, this is giving Saving 6 because we are, like, as I said, seeing progression of Lizzie and Hugh growing up. As I said, these are really sensitive topics and I almost don't feel right putting too much of my opinion on them, so I'm not going to. I have my thoughts, but I just don't think I know enough about these topics to publicly publicize them. However, I do think these are really serious but prevalent topics. But I just don't feel too comfortable speaking on too much of that, so I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about our characters and I'm going to talk about what I'm thinking of the book as a whole. I cannot put it down. I am physically addicted to this book and I don't know why. I am loving the little scraps of Johnny and Shannon that we're getting. It's very interesting right now. There's a lot of different opinions going around and circulating. I am trying to stick true to my opinion, which can be hard sometimes, getting everyone's influence, but it's also really interesting because we're on the same timeline. I kind of know everything that's gonna happen, but at the same time I don't. What is this year? I'm like reading tormenting reads like that. Oh, this will be the next to really destroy me. I just have such a deep-rooted love for this series. These characters feel so incredibly real to me, forcing myself not to pick up this book all day because I wanted to just completely dismiss my assignment and read this book. Those are my thoughts at the moment. So many thoughts going on right now. I'm scared for what the rest of the book holds. We've got a while to go. Okay, I am like, what am I? I'm almost 80% through. I'm 73% through. This book is so intense, but I do feel like, look, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna end up bawling my eyes out even more, but I do feel like we're past the worst part of it. And I'm saying that because the last 20% hasn't been as heart-wrenchingly traumatizing as the rest of it. I am addicted to it and I cannot stop reading it because I have such a special place in my heart for these characters. These characters feel like absolutely like real people. And when they do something, I'll be like, oh, that's so Gibbs. So, oh my God, that makes so much sense. That's so Johnny. Like, I say these things, these are characters, these are fictional characters. They are not real people, and yet I know and I expect them to do these things. Because Chloe Walsh writes in a way that these characters feel like real. I've been seeing these TikToks of like what I imagine the Boys of Tom world like, and they're like showing Johnny's house and Shannon's house and Tom in college and everything like that. Is literally the exact same in my imagination. I'm like, wow, so we all universally picture the same thing because of how Chloe Walsh writes. Like, that's pretty cool. About to get into bed and read. I doubt I will finish it tonight. It's 8:15. I know I'm a grandma, okay? We get it. I know though that something's about to come crashing down. Like, I know that it's gonna happen and I know what it's gonna be. And it's just a waiting game. At this point, I've just got to wait it out, and that's a really hard thing. It's a really hard thing. So I'm just gonna try and read as much as I can tonight. This book was an emotional roller coaster. I feel like what added to my sense, of like to the emotions at the end of this book was literally yesterday, Chloe Walsh came out with a video talking about this book because of all the backlash and controversy it had been receiving, and basically said that this was a really hard book for her to write, and it's a really emotional book because this is based off her own experience. Lizzie is very much like, she has a lot of the same qualities and goes through a lot of the same things as the author Chloe Walsh did when she was young. That explains a lot. It explains why it is so intense, why it adds a whole nother layer to this story. These characters were already so incredibly real to me, and this just adds a whole nother sense of that. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if I can rate this book, honestly. I will say it exceeded my expectations. It is honestly everything and more. Felt really uncomfortable at times, but I don't think I was meant to feel comfortable. I was crying a lot more last night, and then I decided to finish it today. Thought I was over the tears. Was not, apparently. Some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows I have ever felt in a Boys of Tom book, honestly. I haven't really talked about this, but I am really excited to get Feely's book because we had little glimpses of him and his love interest, I'm not going to say in case you haven't read it. Yeah, I'm really excited to get their book. I'm hoping, praying that we will get their book. I feel like there's so much up in the air about this series at the moment. They better get a happy ending. These two deserve a happy ending. It's not fair that they don't have one. I want to give these characters a massive hug because they deserve everything and more. The next book I had planned to go on to was Conditions of Will. This vlog is slowly turning into like seeing how many 5-star reads we can find. Even though I said I didn't want to rate this, it's a 6-star series for me. I feel awful rating it like a 5 stars because of the graphic content and the intensity of the content. It feels wrong. So I'm just going to say this is a 6-star series as a whole, putting it all together. I really want to read this one next. I think we're going to. Conditions of Will has been on my TBR since it came out. I love Jessa Hastings. We all know this. She is one of my favorite authors. I am just really curious to see what this book's going to be about. I don't know. It could be really interesting. And we also have the whole of tonight. So I kind of just want to lose myself in another book because I want to distract myself. And Jessa Hastings has a way of writing that really just purely distracts me. And I can't think of anything else when I'm reading her books. So probably a good way to go. I have no idea what book we'll go onto after this. But for now, we're going to start with Conditions of Will. I am 112 pages, chapter 14 into the Conditions of Will. I went into this so blind. I truly had no idea what this was about. No, I had a very basic idea. I knew the blurb. I just feel like the blurbs never do Jessa Hastings justice because I feel like her books always have so much more going on that you don't get from the blurb. Her characters are so deep. I cannot explain it. They feel so real. And I'm only 100 pages in and already I feel like I know these people. Instantly, I feel pretty damn connected to this book because we're talking a lot about like family dynamics in a big family, and it's very similar because I'm one of the youngest. There's my brother and then there's a really big age gap between my older sister and my older brother, and so it's like very similar vibes going on here. It's really similar, but like instantly relating to it on a level that I don't always relate to on books. I've talked about this very briefly, but like I struggle to relate to characters. I don't usually find characters that I'm like, oh my gosh, that is me. I see myself in them. I'm not one of those cool morally grey characters, and I wish I was, but like look at me, I'm not. So it's very hard for me to find characters that I actually relate to. I think the most recent one, and probably one of the only ones, is the main protagonist of Great Big Beautiful Life. I related to her so much. Conditions of Will, so far obsessed. So far absolutely obsessed. However, I don't know why I thought reading this after releasing 10 was a good idea because the topics in this are really heavy as well. They're really heavy and I'm like about to cry. I am emotionally overloaded with these books at the moment. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to pick this up after, like I wasn't thinking straight. I should have picked up a cute little romance or a fantasy romance or something like that. This is heavy. This is heavy stuff. Not quite as heavy as releasing 10. I hope nothing I read is going to be as heavy as releasing 10, but it's still dealing with some very sensitive, triggering topics. Very prevalent topics, but very triggering topics. And it's a tough read. Those sections are kind of hard to read about. However, I am really loving our character dynamic. Basically, I don't know if I've talked about this, but basically we are following Georgia, who has lived in London for most of her adult life. She got shipped off there when she was like 15, and her family are very wealthy and they live in South Carolina. Speaks to her younger brother, but she doesn't really have contact with much of her other family. She just doesn't see the point. Then one day she gets a text from her older sister saying that their dad has passed away, and so she has to go back to South Carolina for his funeral and for the will reading. So obviously there's so much like family dynamics going on. There is so much grief going around. There are like people dealing with grief in different ways. It's really interesting to read about. I feel like I could really love it. I feel like we could possibly, and I know it's early days, but like it is Jessa Hastings, I feel like we could almost have a new 5 stars. Maybe. That means we'd have like 2, maybe, if we count releasing 10 as a 5-star, which is kind of crazy, but I feel like I gave it to myself because these are 2 of my favorite authors of all time. We have reached the halfway point of Conditions of Will. Oh my god, I am obsessed with this. I am having so much fun. I feel like the plot isn't even the main point. Like, it's not even the main thing that is keeping me so intrigued in this book. It's the characters. I am literally obsessed with the characters. I am obsessed with the dynamic. I feel like this main protagonist, Georgia, is so interesting. The whole love story is really interesting. The way Jessa Hastings creates characters is just, there's so much depth to them. I can just imagine her like creating this character and down to the tiniest little details, and it's insane, and it shows. It really shows. I'm having so much fun. As I said, there are some really kind of sensitive topics in here, not as intense as releasing 10, but I will say it's still like intense stuff, and so I do think you should just look up a brief trigger warning list before going into this. Honestly, starting to understand the cover a little bit more. It's starting to make a little bit more sense, which is I feel like something really fun about Jessa Hastings books. You never really know what the cover means until you've read or finished the book. But basically when Georgia goes back to South Carolina, and if you don't want any spoilers at all, but as I've said, it's literally on the blurb, she goes back to South Carolina and her father's will is read, and somebody that their family has never heard of is on the will. And so they're all really, really confused about that. So they kind of go on this like road trip to try and find out who this person is. That in itself is really interesting to me because it's like a bunch of siblings locked in a car and so many secrets are coming out. There's so much they don't know about each other. Having a lot of fun getting to know our characters so much more. I feel like every time I think I know them, they say something and I'm like, oh, so like you do have a soft spot or something like that. As I said, a lot of depth to all of our characters. And I would say this is a very character focused book. Like it is a very character driven book. I'm kind of getting 5-star feelings, but I will say every time I read a book of Jessa Hastings, that happens. Might finish this today because it is very easy to read. It's very bingeable and I do have a lot of the afternoon free. So we might finish this today. We'll see how we go. But yeah, let's keep reading. I managed to read so much more than I thought I was going to. We're at chapter 48. I don't want to say this is like a surprising book because I just feel like we're following character dynamics and we're like more focusing on that. We're focusing on like their depth and their journey and character development and everything like that. At the moment, this is probably going to be a 5-star read just purely because of the amount I relate to it. It takes a lot for me to relate to books like this. I don't know. Is this what everyone feels when they relate to books? Like it's a really fun experience, honestly. And it's really like, I see myself in not necessarily just one single character, but in so many things that the characters do, I see myself in that. It's really interesting. It's really interesting having that dynamic. And I see my siblings and I see people I know in the other characters, which again, just is really, really interesting for me. I'm loving it. Look at the sun coming through. It's so pretty. I said 100 pages to go. I feel like I know, like I have an idea of what's going to happen. And I hope some characters in particular, like I know that stuff is about to go down because, you know, there's lots of secrets being kept and we as the reader know quite a few of them, but some characters don't know them. And when they find them out, I feel like it's not going to be the best scenario ever. I'm a little bit nervous. We'll see. Her roommate is literally me. Literally me. Also, like, why is this roommate? I've seen her like a few times and she already has such a strong personality. This is the skill of Jessa Hastings. The absolute talent. This book, oh my god. This was amazing. Her character studies were just absolutely incredible, absolutely out of the world. I feel like this is a 5 stars. I wasn't sure. I was getting the 5-star feeling and then in the middle I started kind of dragging out a little bit. Maisie wants to come up, I think. Come on, this dog, I swear to God. I feel like this is a 5-star read purely because I just connected to it so much and I really wasn't quite expecting that. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to connecting to books on such a strong level. Jessa Hastings, it's like she just crawled into my mind and took it and just put it into a book. And I have met very, very, very little authors or read very, very little authors who can do that, who have the ability to do that. And I think it's such a unique ability and I love it and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I don't think there's really anything I could fault. I do think the whole love story, like I don't really know how to say it without spoilers, but there was a little bit that I was a little bit confused about. If you've read it, I'm sure you'll understand that, I hope. Every character was so flawed. Every character had something going on, showing that like everyone has something going on. Nobody's life is perfect. Everyone comes with baggage. Yeah, it was nice to see. It was a really good representation of everything, I think. I'm so excited for a new book to come out. I really want to do a reread of the Magnolia Park series soon, actually, just because I feel like going back is a really different experience to reading it for the first time. I'm very jealous if you haven't read anything by Jessa Hastings because you get to experience this for the first time and that is something I will always envy. But this means we have our second 5-star read for the video, which is crazy. I kind of set myself up, again, 2 of my favorite authors, but kind of crazy at the same time. For our next book, I do think I need something a little bit lighter because whilst I love that, there were some really heavy themes in that as well. And like after releasing 10, I can't deal with any heavy themes. I literally swear to God, I'm very aware I look a little bit like a ghost right now, but I swear to God, I am going to be reading fun fantasies and romances for the rest of this month. Like I cannot deal with another heavy book. I need a detox. So I think for that reason, we might go into a fantasy romance. One I had in mind, which is on my TBR for the month of June, was The Rebel Witch, which is the second book to the Crimson Moth, which I've been meaning to read for a while. So I think we might even go into that one. Like, is she not the cutest thing in the world? So we ended up starting The Rebel Witch. I don't know why I haven't read this earlier, honestly. I really liked The Crimson Moth, the first book in this duology. I just thought it was really fun. I had a great time reading it. It's just a really fun, easy kind of fantasy read, and like, you know, I'm always going to recommend them. When this book came out, there were so many releases coming out around that time, and I was just so overwhelmed and had no idea what I felt like reading, and I would just like kind of push this one to the side because there were other books I was more interested in reading. Anyway, we're finally getting to it. I just decided to get it on my Kindle. So I'm already 20% through. It's very easy to read. Like, you can kind of just get straight back into it. Like, I read the first one over a year ago, yet I'm straight back into this world. Thought I would like not remember anything. Suddenly I remember everything. Like, just reading about these characters again, I'm like, yeah, I remember you. It does show how easy the writing is and how easy it is to get like back immersed in your world and everything like that, which I really, really like. Now, I think the first one I rated a 4.25 stars. For me, it was just, as I said, like a fun fantasy read, but I did find it a little bit like there could have been a little bit more to it, but I do like the whole premise. If you haven't read The Crimson Moth, our main protagonist is like a socialite undercover known as the Crimson Moth, and she works to basically free witches and give witches their rights back. But it is an enemies to lovers romance between her while she's undercover and a witch hunter. So obviously very fun circumstances. Heard incredible things about this one though. I have heard people like absolutely loving this one even more than the first one, and that sometimes doesn't happen in duologies. So hopefully I like it. 1% through, we're at chapter 15. I'm just gonna try and read as much as I can tonight, honestly. We're really straight back into it action-wise as well. Like, there was no dilly-dallying. We're like straight back into the action, which is kind of good because it left off on a pretty intense cliffhanger on the last book. I'm here, I'm ready to be entertained. I'm in this world again. I'm loving our characters. Yeah, let's keep reading today and we'll see how it goes. We love a bit of forced proximity. We love a good forced proximity. I will say this book does have a way, like these characters do have a way of making me get like butterflies and just getting giggly and giddy over them. Like, they've just got good chemistry. I am 60% of my way through The Rebel Witch purely because I cannot put this down, and it is probably one of the easiest fantasy books I have read in a long time, and in a good way, in a really, really good way. I'm also praying that this is in focus because the camera has not been my friend tonight. I've been trying to get you in focus for a long time. Anyway, we're gonna pray it's in focus, and if not, we'll just make this a very short clip, just a tiny little update. I'm 60% in to The Rebel Witch. So far, really, really enjoying it. Like, I don't think it's going to be a 5-star read, but I do think it's going to be a high 4-star read. I feel like so much has happened in this. I feel like the first book was almost like a kind of setup for all the action. Like, all the action has really happened in this book, and that means it's obviously really entertaining, really fun to read. There's something almost missing. It's something like, it just feels really kind of simple, and I do guess it is a YA book, so like I kind of get why it does feel like that, and I just feel like I'm not critiquing it too hard because honestly it's just a really, really fun fantasy read, and I would highly recommend this duology. It also is a really, really well-paced duology. Loving our characters as usual. Honestly, for some reason I wasn't that big a fan. Like, I liked Gideon. I'm starting to like him more. Enemies to lovers, forced proximity, high stakes, everything like that. So it is really fun for that reason because, like, honestly, nothing you can really fault. I will say I feel like there could have been a little bit more depth to the magic system. I feel like as soon as like witchcraft is involved, there is so much potential there. There lies so much potential in that kind of fantasy setting, because I feel like I personally haven't read a lot of books with witchcraft. Like, I feel like it's usually more elemental magic or just magic in itself. Witchcraft is something I haven't really read about, and I feel like there is so much potential to build a really, really great magic system and just build really great like depth to the characters who have this magic. I do feel like it's kind of surface level. Like, I definitely think we could get a little bit more of that. But you know, in saying that, I feel like I'm always just like looking for things that aren't completely making it a 5-star read for me. I just hit part 3, and if you know, if you've read it, part 3 really just dropped a ball on us. Like, did not see that coming. Did not see that coming. And again though, I feel like that's a really key plot point. It makes it even more intense, and honestly I feel like this last part, I think it's only 3 parts. I don't know whether it's another part, but like I feel like this last 40% of the book, everything is going to go down, everything is going to happen, and you know what, we're just gonna go, we're in for the ride. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna read it together. We'll see how it goes. I'm actually refusing to believe that this is about to happen. Like, this is, that's not gonna, no, we can't. We are so close to ending. We have like 10% left. How is this? No, it's not gonna happen. Oh my god, what? I'm actually so confused. How? You can't end like that. Maisie clearly saw that I needed comforting and decided to come comfort me, didn't you? I was really scared for a moment there. We just finished The Rebel Witch, second book to the Crimson Moth, and I was really scared for a moment there. I was like really confused because obviously this is a completed duology, and I was like, how are you gonna end like that? That doesn't make sense to me. But then it all made sense. It all started to make sense. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it more than the Crimson Moth, the first one, but I do think I equally enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a good time. As I said, I wish there was a little bit more exploration into the world that we were set in. I feel like I didn't update you much whilst reading this, and I'm so sorry for that. Kind of just got lost in it. And as I said, it's so easy to read. I literally read that in 2 days because it's that easy to read. So if you're looking for something and if you're in like a little bit of a slump or anything like that, I highly recommend this book because, and the duology as a whole, because it's so easy to binge. And if you haven't read it now, you literally can just read the entire duology instead of waiting a year like I did. I do wish there was a little bit more exploration into the whole witchcraft side of things. I think there was a lot of potential there, but it is a YA book, so I understand why the author didn't want to like put too much politics or just too much kind of detail into the magic system, like keeping it pretty simple just so anyone can kind of read it. Because if I read that when I was 15, I would have been obsessed. That would have been my entire personality. Honestly, what I needed though, after reading Releasing 10 and The Conditions of Will and the heaviness of those books, this is exactly what I needed. Like I needed a quick, fun romantasy read. I would definitely say this is a romantasy. Some books I say this is a fantasy book with a line of romance in it. This was like 100% a romantasy. This was just, the fantasy was there as well, but like the love story took center, I would say. I don't think this one is a 5-star read. I think it is a really fun read and I do highly recommend it, but I think it's probably going to be like a 4.25 read. I just think I would have liked a little bit more. It felt very simple, and I love a little bit of depth to my fantasy books, but like that's the only thing I can kind of fault about it. I just didn't get that 5-star feeling from it. But as I said, really fun, and we ticked off another series that we're in the middle of. I know it's only duology, it's hardly a series, but at least we ticked it off. I'm counting that as a win. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this reading vlog, which is very exciting. This was a very much an emotional roller coaster of a reading vlog, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stuck around. If you did, you're the real ones. Thank you so much for watching today's video though. I hope you're having some good reads, and I hope June is treating you well. And thank you again if you made it to the end. It means the absolute world to me. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video.